welcome to 5 Minutes, your fast track to smarter insurance technology and stronger leadership. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to show you a better way to lead, scale, and innovate without the chaos. Let's get into it.
You mentioned New York.
Yep.
You mentioned California.
Yep.
Two super easy markets to do business.
I mean, massive markets, right? Like just there's so much need, which is awesome, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
But how do you as a young or a smaller company in growth?
I was going to say we are not young, sir. Right? We just celebrated 140 years.
So correct that.
Yeah.
More of a kind of in growth mode, but not necessarily the scale of a big, massive national carrier.
Yeah.
How are you guys dealing with the regulatory complexities of those markets that seem like, to me, it feels like it would be heavy?
I mean, every state is different,
Sure.
right? And so that's what we're going to have jobs forever because of exactly that reason.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like products are products, rates are rates, and everyone's got their flavor of what makes them unique. But at the end of the day, every state has different regulatory requirements. We have our own audit and compliance requirements, right? It depends where you're domiciled compared to where you do business. And so all of that continues to be a huge part of the conversation, and not because it's insurmountable, but because it's unique to that state, right? So like when we consider building a product, the first thing we kind of ask ourselves is, well, how similar is it to New York, right?
Yeah.
And if it's far off, then off we go to build a whole new product full of unique new things. But if it's similar to New York, at least we have a good starting point, right? Or I always say that New York is kind of like the gold standard for things like PII, PCI, right? That compliance need.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if another state has lower requirements, it doesn't mean we're going to lower the requirements.
No.
We're going to keep it up there because that's the best thing to do for the consumer. So it all depends, right?
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like, every state's different.
Yep.
So,
well, it's kind of fascinating because in that regard, you've set the lowest common denominator so high that you could get into any other state relatively
literally,
easily.
exactly. Yeah. And that's why, like, that's the mindset, right? Is that when, like, again, product aside, from just a purely technology perspective, if New York has a standard and I meet it, I automatically meet it for almost every other state out there.
Done. You got
exactly.
100%. No, I get
it.
I get it. No, that makes good sense.
Good. All right. Hold on.
I'm
going to ask you a question. First of all, how's it going for you? You've been here. You've been doing this. Yeah.
So listen, to your point, the opportunity to meet with people.
I know, right? I love networking.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I've got relationships that I've had for 15 years in this business. And what's fascinating for me is that, I look forward to these conferences as an opportunity to kind of like reconnect, because otherwise you don't,
of course. I mean, we're in a remote world at this point. So it's 100%. Like, if you don't see him in person a couple times a year or once a year.
You got it. And then it's also too, it's a great opportunity for me, especially in my role as a consultant. I have to know, which new vendors are out there.
What
I have
they
to,
do.
know what the lingo is and kind of just constantly be thinking about what that would look like for my clients. And then also too, just having an opportunity to talk to, the regulators here. And so the, Commissioner of Connecticut is here. He's actually new. Andrew Mays and I, we've done some discussions before that, but he left the post.
Nice.
And so like, it's just an opportunity to reconnect with all those folks. It's really
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
What is the most interesting thing you've heard so far from somebody sitting in this chair?
Wow.
Right?
I know. That's a good.
It's still early too. So you have all day.
It is still early. So I had a guest kind of frame something kind of interesting for me. And when you think about what it means in practice, of course it's intuitive, but the wording was really interesting. And he said, "What is my relationship with my data?"
Ooh, I like that.
I really thought about it that way.
It's evolved over the years, that's for sure.
Exactly.
I'm going to talk about that later. Don't ruin this.
I won't mess that up for you. But when you think about, it's like you've got, we talked about how insurance, we're data rich and information poor.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's this question that says, how am I building a relationship with my data, and how am I understanding the relationships between the different pieces of data? And, and by the way, this is like all what he educated me on is that, this is all business speak for data graphing and vectoring. And it's just all of these things that we use like these technical terms for, but it's really, what's your relationship?
It is. Yeah.
So I think that was my number one takeaway.
That's awesome.
From a podcast.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.